if I could hold a baby every day, it would be a much better day at WLTX. Alexa, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you so much for bringing your beautiful baby to hang out with us. We could just like stare at her. Like really, can we just get a tight shot and just stare at her? Beautiful baby. We're wearing purple. You're wearing purple. She's wearing purple. We're talking about the March of Dimes. Share with us, before we get into all the details about March for Babies tomorrow, your story.
Sure. When I was 20 weeks pregnant, on my third pregnancy, we already knew that we were having twins, but we were told at our 20-week appointment that they were suffering from what's called twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. And in a nutshell, basically, the babies that share a placenta sometimes don't get an equal divide of it, and one baby was getting too much fluid and the other baby was not getting enough. Karis was the donor baby. She was passing her fluid to her sister, and when we were diagnosed, they actually told us we were losing both the babies. Oh, wow. So it was an awful day, and luckily we were admitted into the hospital, and over the next 10 weeks went through about 3 hospitalizations and I think 7 or 8 procedures to help the babies. They were born at 30 weeks and 5 days, which now I'm thinking 30 weeks is great. If you make it to 30 weeks, that's really good. But at the time I was terrified. And she was only 1 pound, 10 ounces. Her sister was 4.5 pounds, but had a lot of issues, and went into heart failure and passed away after 2 days.
So Catherine lived for 2 days.
Catherine, yes.
But Karis is with us. And Karis is doing wonderful.
She
is. Karis is how old now?
She is 16.5 months.
16.5 months and developing wonderfully. March of Dimes obviously means so much to your family because of that.
Yes, it
March
does.
for Babies is tomorrow, and as a mom who has had a premature baby, I understand the work that they do, but can you talk a little bit more about all the research and everything that goes into March of Dimes?
Definitely. Before, I had heard of March of Dimes before we wound up in this situation, but I didn't really know their whole mission. And I think one of the biggest things is for us to realize that all of us are impacted by the March of Dimes, because it's not just about preemies. It's about a healthy start for healthy babies, for all babies, healthy pregnancies, healthy moms. And sometimes you do everything you're supposed to, just like we did, and we still wound up in a situation where it didn't go well. They do research, they raise money, they started out actually to cure polio, and they're the only agency who has ever actually cured the disease that they set out to cure. So that's fascinating in itself. And 75 years later, here they are still trying to do everything they can to improve neonatal care, to improve outcomes for babies born with birth defects, to improve the chances for little ones like this. Because when you have one that's going to be born that soon, even though at 30 weeks she was the size of a 25-weeker, and they gave us a list a mile long of things that could go wrong with her. She could have brain bleeds, she could have vision problems, heart problems, hearing problems. She's more likely to develop or to be diagnosed with autism. She could have had cerebral palsy. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, and it's terrifying. So there is still so much work to be done. There is still my passion in life now. I'm very serious about this. Obviously, I have purple hair for this for this cause today. But my passion in life now is to hopefully one day see them focusing on twin-to-twin transfusion and on high drops, because as a mom of multiples, you know all multiple pregnancies are high risk. But then you add in TTTS, and when they tell you if you don't do anything about it, it's 100% death for both twins.
Right. So the important thing is that we get out tomorrow and we walk. We show up at the State Fairgrounds. What time do we need to be there?
8:30.
8:30 in the morning. We're going to start walking. We're going to walk for babies, because we want every baby, 1 baby or 2, to make it to 40 weeks. It's so good to see you again, my friend, and we'll be walking with you tomorrow. All right, folks, stay with us. There's more Friends coming up after the break. Thank you, pretty girl.